The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is hump day in the Riv. And boy, what a day it is after a city council virtual meeting where there was some fireworks. But first, the huge numbers from Commander COVID. We got a lot to talk about the spread this morning.
Yes, we do. As of yesterday, Massachusetts has 149,361 cases with 1,025 new cases. Total deaths is 9,664 with new deaths being 7. Bristol County had 11,986. Fall River had 41 new cases yesterday, and we're still at 136 deaths. So it's going to be interesting. We had 2,536 cases in total in Fall River. So that's going to be interesting. And remember, we're still in the red. And I doubt we're going to come out of the red today.
Well, obviously we have a problem, but I think I heard today from someone that Charlie Baker is whining because he said that 37% of the new cases being diagnosed are in people under 30 years old.
Correct.
So he's very upset. But then again, let's look at that. What does that mean? They'll say, well, 37 is not like 80%. Well, these people under 30, for the most part, have mild, if no symptoms. And those are the people that spread it the most because they're the most active, the most social, the people who go out and interact the most. So this is one of the reasons that we have the problems that we have. I mean, that's my theory. I'm not saying we may need a $1 million investigation. Maybe you'll do it, CJ. We get the feds to give you a grant of $1 million to do the investigation. But the reality is, it seems pretty straightforward to me that, you know, these people at 37% of them, which is, we can round it up to 40. So 4 out of every 10 infections are coming from somebody under 30. And probably the other 60% or 63%, probably 50% of them were infected by these people in some way, shape, or form. So again, we get back to what we've been telling you the whole time. You know, people do not follow directions. They're going to do whatever they want to do, and the hell with it. If it inconveniences them, they're not going to do it. So this is why you're not waving the red flag when you understand this fact. What you're doing is understanding that you really are going to be. It's going to be extremely difficult to just stop the spread because it's spreading throughout the world. But if we get a medical treatment, that may be the only way, since the people are not cooperating. So that's you know, at least that's the way I see it.
Yeah, no, you know, you got to follow directions. You got to wash your hands, wear masks, and socially distance. And that has worked sufficiently in this country that had cut it. But as soon as things started opening up, the numbers started going up again because people weren't doing those things. They were having parties. They were going to bars. They were just doing anything they wanted to do. And it's funny because that age group that's now getting it, 37% under 30, is the same group that thinks they're supermen. That, you know, nothing's going to happen to me. I'm not going to get sick. I'm not going to do this. I'm Superman. I'm immune to this. So again, sometimes some of the ignorance plays into it. But we have to look at that. Now, the thing that gets me, and again, we're just before an election, and we're seeing this now, we've heard the Dems, constantly blame Trump for the deaths and the increases of COVID. I don't believe that it's based on one man's actions or inactions. I believe that this would have happened one way or another because the people weren't doing what needed to be done. And it's kind of hard for one man, whether it be president or king, to get the people to do what they want, what they're supposed to do. So I think it's unfair to judge anyone, including our president, on whether or not he's responsible for the increases in COVID. He's not responsible for it, and he's not responsible for the deaths. Maybe he didn't handle it the right way when he first started, and he argues that point. But again, I think when he closed the country down and he stopped immigration from China, all of a sudden he was a xenophobe. Meanwhile, Joe Biden recently said that he would have done the same thing. So don't call the kettle black. Let's not do that. It just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. So we've got to do what we need to do to protect ourselves, and that's the only thing that matters. So
yeah, well, if we're going to call the pot black, let's call all the pots black, because 33. The other statistic I saw was that 33% of the COVID deaths were nursing home deaths.
Right.
So 1/3 of those deaths were in nursing homes, and so. Where's the condemnation and recall procedure for Andrew Cuomo, for Governor Whitmer, for the people, for the people who mandated COVID patients into nursing homes, put them in nursing homes, and further affected the population? Listen, there's enough blame to go around, but as you said, these people under 30 know that they have a 99% chance of not dying or not even having any major symptoms. So they don't care. They don't care who else they infect. So it's about people. But, it is a political football, and it's unfortunate, as we said on the last show, that they're using this as a political tool. But now we get to politics. Let's get over to that rather lively and bizarre city council meeting. So I guess the vetting of the city administrator didn't work too well. There were a lot of things that came out. One was inaccurate, but the others were from a relative, and there were a lot of allegations, but I guess the heat got turned up enough. So it speaks volumes. And I think before we even knew a lot of this information, we said that just on its face value, it was rather strange that someone would come to Fall River from a smaller town and take less money in this city. So, the question to me is, who did he know to tell him to come in here and try to fly in under the radar? But the bottom line is, there we go. Fall River again, jacking up salaries for their friends and hiring inferior people that are not qualified, people who are from out of town. We've become an employment agency for out of town. This guy doesn't live in Fall River, I don't believe. That hire that Sean Kadeem dragged in from Seekonk, one of his buddies from Seakonk's daughter. She's working in City Hall while somebody in Fall River is unemployed.
Right.
We've still got what's his name lurking the halls from the Jaisler administration. They stuck him somewhere. Remember the old press secretary?
Yes, I do.
He's still around, and that's the problem. They slide these ticks in under the radar. They give them a nice permanent job, and that's the end of it. They just work forever and get a paycheck and health care. And then what does the city do? Then Sean Kadeem slides somebody in from out of town. Then he's going after the pension system again. The pension system that they wrecked already. I want to get this out, see, because I'm so pissed off.
Oh no! Yeah,
from 2000. How many times do I have to tell that city council? And I put it in a letter about the retirement, that from 2002 to 2012, Eddie Lambert and Mary Sahady was around then. They tried to do the same thing. And our pension system went from 70% funded to 40% funded. And right now, Fall River has the third worst retirement funding in the state because of what they did. And the only two that are worse than us is Springfield, and it's either the Cambridge or Boston teachers, because the teachers have a separate retirement system. So again, Kadim and Sahady want to raid the system so they can have more money to play with. And what's going to happen is we're already third from the bottom. We'll get to the bottom, and the system will collapse with overly aggressive investments so they can have money to piss away. And then the retirees will lose benefits because that's the only way what they can do when it goes bankrupt. And all the actives will have a crap retirement system. They'll pay in their entire life to retire with crappy benefits because these people lie their asses off and pretend that what they're doing is fiduciarily responsible. And Mary Sahady said it. Oh, we can't do this because we've only got one vote on the board. Well, that's why people make sure you keep electing people to the board that are going to protect your retirement system, both active and retirees. And don't vote for Sean Kadim. And tell all your friends that he doesn't care about you having a retirement because he's making 180 grand and he gets a car from Seekonk. So he doesn't give a shit with the poor people, what happens to the poor people. Let them eat dog food. All right, that's it. I got my rant, and that went so far up my derriere when I heard that, because they never learn. The definition of insanity is repeating the same action and expect a different outcome. From 02 to 12. And I defy Mary Sahady to question those numbers. They put in $89 million less than New Bedford. I presented those to the council. Does everybody on that council have amnesia? First, they came after your health care, and now they're coming after your retirement. Shame on you, Paul Coogan, as a city employee. Shame on you.
Well,
this to happen.
Well, Paul's getting his salary and he's getting his pension from the Mass Teachers Association. So what does he care? His retirement system seems to be okay. But one of the interesting things
that's the difference. It doesn't affect him. He's not in the Fall River contributory retirement system.
Right.
He's in the Mass Teachers retirement system. So it's not going to hurt him. So screw the city employees. Just screw over them again. Let's go back to 02 and start overestimating what we're going to get in and tank the system. So this is all just crap. How many times do you have to send a city council documented proof? I sent them the numbers, not my numbers from the retirement board done by Christine Tetrald at the time from 02 to 12. With an exact comparison. I still have the sheet, and I sent it to them with an explanation, a narrative. But they still allow that crap to come up. And now I know why Mary Sahady's got a job in Seekonk, too.
I guess
because
so.
Her and Kadim are soulmates.
Well, the thing that bothered me, I think, most was when they were presenting the independent audit that they had from the company. He had mentioned that the retirement system is probably a little too conservative. And that's what started Sean Kadim on his rant and Mary Sahady doing the agreement. I don't know. I mean, was that what the independent auditor's job was to do? To say your retirement system is too conservative? Also, he said he couldn't do a complete audit because the redevelopment authority's numbers aren't included in this audit. Okay, maybe they're not. Maybe they're not supposed to be. I'm not sure. But He said that we're doing everything according to proper accounting protocols, and he was very pleased with the job that the city employees are doing. I guess so. I mean, I don't know. I didn't see the
Well,
file.
of course he did. Of course he did, CJ. He got hired by them. It's like having a study. Have you ever seen a study that didn't come out the way the people who were paying for the study wanted it to come out? We said this audit was absolute BS from the get-go. We got somebody over here that Mary Sahady hired to say that she did a good job and to say that the retirement system is conservative. Well, let me tell you something. It's not just Fall River. If you look nationwide, how many retirement systems have gone into the tank? And then if you look at the real cause, it isn't the retirees. It isn't the system. It's that cities begin to skim money from the system by using this scam of you're too conservative. Well, as I've said a million times, you know something, Mr. Kadim? If you want to play fast and loose with your money on a stock market, be my guest. It is a proven fact that retirement systems that remain well-funded and solvent have to invest in conservative stocks, because even now, with conservative investments, it's very, very difficult. It takes a couple of decades or more to stabilize a system that was in trouble. All you have to do is over-speculate and be wrong, and the system gets tanked like you did from 02 to 12, when we went from up at the top half of the systems in the state to the bottom, nearly at the bottom, 2 from the bottom. So, because you know something, these clowns that are up there are not, they're hired guns. They're people who say what they want to say. But I can tell you what, if he shows me one retirement system that's doing well with highly speculative investments, I can show you 100 that tank their own system by doing the same thing. It is not fiscally prudent. It is not fiduciarily responsible. And as long as I'm on a board, I'm going to fight like hell to keep the damn system and try to get this system so it's still there for the actives, and that the present retirees are not going to have to take cuts, because that's the problem, CJ. When they do crap like this, there's no consequences. If they overestimate and a system tanks, does that affect Sean Kadim? No. What they do is say, oh, you know, we don't have enough money. The system's dead. So what can we do? Well, there's only 2 ways. It can't be administrative costs because the office is tiny. We only got a few people. There's only 2 real factors. That is increase the amount that the actives have to contribute into the system and cut the benefits within the system. So they screw up and the employees suffer. That's the bottom line. They screw up, and you know what they'll say? They'll say what Joe Biden says. You built the cages? Oh, it was a mistake. Oh, you gave a eulogy for the Ku Klux Klan guy? The Grand Wizard? Oh, that was a mistake. Well, that's what Sean Kadim's going to say when his system goes bankrupt. He'll say, well, I guess we made a mistake. Well, as long as I'm on the board, you're not gonna get to make that mistake. So that's it. It's so, it just goes to show the insensitivity they have to other people.
Well, and the other thing that you have
I've
to look
always
at,
said,
the other thing you have to look at is the fact that, unlike Rhode Island, Massachusetts doesn't pay into the Social Security system. So because we don't pay into the Social Security system, they don't have that to fall back on. And even those people that have paid into the Social Security system for so long, because they get a Massachusetts pension, they lose their Social Security money. So again, there's nothing to fall back on. So this is it. This is their retirement. This is their Social Security. Like it or not, that's what it is. And you know, is that a mistake of the Commonwealth that not to pay the Social Security? I don't know. I think it is personally. I think that this way the retirees have two systems to fall back on. But hey, what do I know?
Well, but look, that's the problem. Mary Sahady and a big fat paycheck working in 5 different places full time, but she's working full time in Fall River. And they got this dog and pony show. They march him in and say how wonderful she is. This is what's going to happen, because what's going to happen then is that they're going to ride off into the sunset. Mary Sahady's going to go down to her house in Florida and live there permanently, and Sean Kadim's going to get on his stallion and ride off into the sunset with his big fat bank account for making 180 grand. While people are living in Fall River that work their whole life as a clerk in City Hall for 30, 35 grand, they're getting a crap pension now. Then they're going to get their benefits cut even more. And they're going to be choosing between medication and food and real food and cat food or dog food. And I'm not being overly dramatic either.
No, you're not.
I already have people who can't afford it. We have 60% of the retirees in Fall River living on less than $25,000 a year gross income. Gross income. And medical bills up the kazoo. Prescription drugs that they have to buy. Some of them are on numerous medications, and they're living on $25,000 or less. So this is the kind of people we have, and that's why we gotta run these people out on a rail, and we gotta get rid of. Unfortunately, this mayor doesn't give a damn about the people. He said he cares, but he doesn't, and he's allowing Mary Sahady to just go after the city employees with a hatchet. First they came after the health care, and now she's going after the retirement again. And I will tell you, yeah, she was here in 02 to 12 in some capacity. And she just doesn't care. This isn't about anything except money for them. Give them all the money they need to spend to give all their friends jobs. And once in a while, we get one that doesn't get the job. And then they're going to all ride off into the sunset, because none of them are going to be living in Fall River when they retire. I can guarantee you. None of them are going to be living in Fall River. And I'll bet on that, because I'm a bet man. We'll go down to Twin Rivers right now. We'll set a line, and I'll put my money down. And let me see them put their money. They might have income property in this city, but they sure as hell aren't going to live in this city. And if you think this really pisses me off, it does, because I see the kind of damage this kind of stuff does to the average working person in the city of Fall River.
True. That's true. Speaking of the city of Fall River, the city had their potential city administrator withdraw his application, withdraw his appointment. And the reason why was the city council was too tough on him. Oh, it goes against his professional standards. And he felt that it wouldn't be a good fit because they asked him too many serious questions. Oh, well, too bad. Get over it. He touted the fact that he's, certified by the ICMA or whatever the heck it was, and he's got 7 years in that, and less than 7% of the city and town administrators are part of that organization. And he's got 24 years as an attorney, and on and on and on. But it's interesting that when you speak to his previous employers, the ones that can speak, because some have a 7-year blockout period, so they can't talk about him, have said the same thing. When they had him for a short term, they dodged a bullet by not hiring him. And when they had him long term, they wish they could have gotten rid of him. So bye-bye, Fall River got rid of him. And I got to give the city council credit for that, because if the city council drove this guy out, and I believe it was one city councilor who drove him out. I believe it's one. Maybe two, but definitely one. I'm telling you now, it's interesting because I had heard from the grapevine that 2 city councilors who are always in the mayor's office really loved this guy. They thought he was a wonderful guy and he's going to fit well into Fall River. But 1 or 2 city councilors didn't believe that way. And so this guy felt attacked. So he left. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Well, yeah. Well, I think they were worried. I think he was more worried about the scrutiny that he would have got even after he got hired, because there are a lot of serious allegations about him. And obviously he didn't do well in his previous jobs in little tiny towns, as we said on a previous show. And I think that it was going to reflect. And I'm going to tell you, you know who really dodged the bullet? Paul Coogan.
Oh, no question about it.
Because if they would have hired him and the rest of this stuff would have come out, then the question of his ability to vet people for jobs on anything other than their political affiliations would have been seriously called into question. How this guy even got an interview is beyond me. Forget about the allegations of issues this guy has had personally. But he went from a small town to a large town for a pay cut. Red flag. We know what kind of rating he got from the people he worked for previously. Bad. In a town with a budget the size of a postage stamp. So there's something rotten. But like I say, my question is always, I want to know who his godfather was. Who whispered in his ear, go to Fall River. Exactly. They don't pay attention to anything. All you have to do is keep your head down.
That's right.
And then by the following week, it'll be gone. And that's what they're going to do. Don't worry about it. We'll give you a $140,000 a year job, even though you're a total incompetent. So there you go.
What was interesting was a former city councilor, Ray Mitchell, came out and said that the mayor had vetted this guy completely and they could find nothing in his background that wouldn't make him a fit for Fall River. So I want to know who did the vetting. Did we pay for that vetting? And how much would it cost us? Because whoever did the vetting of this guy didn't do their job. So Mr. Mayor, if you did the vetting, you obviously ignored this guy's past and you didn't do your job, and he wasn't a fit for Fall River. And, you know, this seems to be your modus operandi, Mr. Mayor. You hire hacks that can't do anything right. I'm sorry, but that's what I'm seeing. And it's really a tough thing to say. But, you know, people had a lot of faith in this mayor because he was the only choice they had. And a lot of the people who supported him before aren't supporting him now because they don't think he can do the job right. And that's what's happening. I mean, you can see it in his face. You can see it in his behavior because he's looking tired and ragged lately. So, you know, the job may be getting to him. I'm not sure.
Well, but you know, CJ, this fundamentally, we know it's not true in Fall River anymore because Mary Sahady is the oracle at Delphi in Fall River. I mean, she has been elevated to near demigod status. But the reality is that theoretically is the second most important job in the city of Fall River. Mayor, right. City administrator.
Right.
So we were going to hire somebody that people could just look at the transition where he worked, ask a couple of questions. As you said, I think
Chip, I got to cut you off there.
I did hear.
Chip, I got to cut you off there. Sorry, we're out of time. We're totally out of time. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll pick this up on Friday.
Larry and Curly. That was the betting company.
Have a great
Larry
day
and Curly.
Enjoy your